welcome to another episode of Unstoppable Overcomers. I'm your host, Dorothy Odell. Just really super excited to share with you some things that are going around here in Unstoppable Overcomers productions, and check us out on our website, www.unstoppableovercomers.com. We are starting Operation Hope, and what HOPE stands for is helping other people evolve. And so if you are one of those people that are struggling in one or two areas of your life and you're thinking, oh crap, Dorothy, I need help, go check us out, because we've launched our coaching programs, and we're here to help you evolve in 2024. So we're super excited about that. Just go to our website, www.unstoppableovercomers.com/coaching to check that out. But I am more excited to have today's guests on the show, Rheece and Michale. Welcome. How are you doing this morning?
Oh my gosh, on top of the world. So good.
We were just listening to your intro music, and we both said at the same time, we've got goosebumps.
Yeah.
You love that, eh?
Oh, it was amazing.
I want to give a shout out to Brenda Warren. She is the lady that made that for us, and she is a veteran. And so, yeah, if you need intros and outros, she's the person to do that. Let me know. Connect with me after the show, and I'll get you her information. But yeah, she is an amazing lady. And she it's funny because she just said, hey, send me this, and this. Let me see because she was taking a course, and she put it together, and it was literally everything Kimberly and I like. Kimberly's all about horses. I'm all about water. And it was just it was unbelievable what she came up with.
Fantastic. Great job. And thank you for your service.
Oh, yes, exactly. So about you guys, tell us a little bit about who Rheece and Michale are.
Go ahead. Who's first?
We're both looking at each other. Who's going to go first?
Who's Rheece and Michale?
Well, I always say ladies first. So
yeah, me too.
Okay. So who are we? Well, I'll say who is Michale. So Michale is here to help women to actually, really, we help women lose weight and keep it off for life. And we do that in a healthy way so that it's very sustainable, and they can also have their favorite food. And if they like wine, they can have that too. And the reason for that, why I'm out here speaking in front of you today, is because I had my own hero's journey where when I was younger, I had an eating disorder. It took me actually a bit of time to share that, because it's kind of a little bit shameful and guilt. I feel really bad about it, but it allowed me to be who I am today. And so with this eating disorder, not only did I lose a lot of weight because I thought I was overweight, but I did it in such an unhealthy way that I also lost a lot of my bone mass. So I developed a very severe aging disease when I was super young, because I was doing silly things. So after overcoming that, feeling unstoppable, not giving up, I'm here today in front of you, fit and healthy.
I love that. And there's no shame in that, Michale, whatsoever. I always say, I have this saying that if you bring the dark to light, there is no shame. Like, if you're feeling shameful, you're going to hide. Right. And that's the first thing. If I notice some of my friends are hiding, I know something's going on. So check on your friends that have been hiding for a while, because that's where the guilt and shame comes in. Trust me, as somebody who has overcome decades of it, I get it. Like, if I find myself hiding, I'm like, okay, what do I need to bring to the light to this? And dig into that. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being vulnerable to share. And so, Rheece, who are you? Tell us a little bit about you.
I am the husband of this wonderful lady right here, Michale. We've been together for just over 22 years. We've got two kids, one 18 and one 21, both boys, and they live with us here in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. We're originally Canadians. We moved down here a couple of years ago and live here full time.
No way, Canadians.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Where?
Kelowna, British Columbia.
Kelowna, BC.
Oh crap! Oh, I'm so excited, because not too many times do I get Canadians. I'm from Windsor, Ontario.
Oh,
so you didn't even know that.
No, I do now. This is great.
We always love it when people say Canadians, and it's like, oh, you speak English, and it's like, yes, we do. About.
Yeah. So when things turned around, we did a big sharp move.
Yeah, and moved down here, and we're just absolutely loving it. So we're looking out right now at the Caribbean Sea over top of the monitor, and the trees waving back and forth, and the birds flying around. I've been in the industry, in the natural health industry, helping people out for just over 40 years.
Yeah.
It's been a wonderful journey helping people out in a retail environment, training people across Canada and the United States on different aspects of natural health. We started a clinic in our home 22 years ago, and well, just a little bit after that, Michelle got started in her other home, and then we built our home and started that. And we were having clients coming into the house all the time, and in a clinic area, separate area. And then we decided, one day we'd like to take this opportunity online to be able to help more people in the world. And so we took the business online and are helping clients all over the world to have a better, healthy life now.
I love that. And I love it that you're able to do that no matter where. And like a dream location, like seriously, Mexico.
Yeah, Playa, you have to come see us. There's water right here. I know you love water. And we can find horses too for your friend, Kimberly. Because I love horses.
I love that. Well, it's funny because what she didn't know is I grew up with horses. My grandfather had a farm out in Cottam, Ontario. Nobody knows where Cottam is. And it's funny because I grew up with that. And, when she said that she loved horses, I was just like, of course you do. Because, that's how I grew up, cleaning the shit, right? Because that's what you do. You muck the stalls.
Yeah.
And my grandfather was very good at delegating. So, if you went to the farm, you had to help. So, yeah. Anyways, I've never brought that up on the show before, so I don't know why. Somebody must have needed to hear it.
It's interesting because horses are my spirit animal. I'm so drawn to horses, thoroughbreds. I've always saw myself as a thoroughbred or racehorse. And it's times when I go, okay, racehorse, you need to go back to the barn and rest, because I go all hog until I go, okay, now I need to rest. So now it's all about balance. So I'm learning the balance of this horse, but I am all about horses.
But that's so funny because I keep hearing the word tea biscuit everywhere I go. The horse reference, tea biscuit came in it was last, and at the end he came and won the race. So wow. I just like this morning, it's been this last couple of days have been eye-opening. Each guest that I have on brings something to the table that we're working with here at Unstoppable Overcomers. So absolutely love that. So, Rheece, you said that you've been in this industry for 40 years. What made you decide to get into fitness and nutrition?
Well, as a little squirt, like around 9, 10, 11 years old, somewhere in there, I started to visit health food stores, just realizing that in mainstream, it was, I was looking at people all around, and I was following media and so forth, reading different things, and it wasn't congruent. It didn't make sense to me. And so I started to look more into natural. I'd go to the local health food stores. And way back then, they just had very few health foods in a health food store. And it would be things like wheat germ and, the occasional vitamin bottle and so forth. But I'd read them all and learn about it. And then I started to get into deeper books and Grey's Anatomy and all kinds of fun stuff and learn about the human body and how it works. And then I was helping people all the time, just in my regular everyday life, doing my other work. And somebody said, you really should get into helping people as a job. And I was like, oh, really? You can do that type of thing? And it was like, yeah. So anyway, that's what I ended up doing. And so I traveled down the road of manufacturing supplements and working with supplements, training about supplements, training about nutrition and proper eating, exercise. I worked in gyms for years. I owned a gym for years. So it's been all about health. The whole thing has been about health and helping people.
Right. And so when you met Michelle, she was on the same path, and that's how you two met? I'm just curious.
Oh, we have a story.
Sort of, yeah.
We were. It was like such a meant to be. We were drawn together by 3 different people. You need to meet Rheece. You need to meet Rheece. I'm like, because we're in the same industry. I was actually in the same industry, but I was a rep for a company, and he was a manager for a company. So we would go to these conventions and that, and I would see him. I'm like, whoa. First time I saw him, I'm like, oh, no, he took my breath away.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah. And then I'm like, yeah. And I had this maybe I had low self-esteem because I'm like, oh, he wouldn't want to be with me. No, literally, I'm like, yeah, well, he wouldn't want to be with little old me. Now he's got all the other girls flocking around him. There's no way. No. So I kind of kept my distance. No, I did. And, but there was 3 different people in the industry, well known in the industry. Sam Gracie, And there was a few others that were like, okay, you need to meet, Rheece.
Right.
So yeah, I met him.
That I love it. Sorry, I don't usually have couples on the show together. Not that I don't want it, but I love it because most men don't want to be front and center. So thank you for coming, both of you, on the show. I absolutely love it, and we get to put this dynamic out because I believe in power couples, right? And so you two are definitely a power couple. And so it's great to see the dynamic and working together. So there's one thing, and I'm going to ask this question, and if you don't want to answer it, Michale, it's okay, because I know the shame conversation about eating disorders and things like that, and the perception, as a woman who has basically dieted her entire life, fell off the wagon several times, got back on, lost. I don't know, 50 pounds to put it all back on again, and not feeling that shame. And that's one of the things that I had refused to talk about on my own show for years, until God's like, okay, that's the next subject that you really need to work on. And so what would you say to that woman right now that, we always have that New Year's resolution? Oh yes, I'm going to lose it all this year. Bang, make that plan. We're now into the second month of the year, and oh shit, all that plan that I had went to crap. And now the guilt and the shame is there, and it's just eating at you. And of course, when you're stressed, the weight just piles more back on you because you're releasing those hormones and all that crap. And a majority of the time is unconscious and you don't even realize that you're doing it. What do you say to those women that are feeling that guilt, that shame, and that like, oh, what's the next step? I don't know what the next step is, and feeling all that.
That's a great question. I'd love to answer that. So first of all, I would say to all you women out there is take a step back from your reality and go into nature and just sit with yourself and think about that little girl inside of you that needs your love. Because we're women, we're nurturers. We're designed that way, which is good. But sometimes the nurturers forget about nurturing themselves. And that's that little girl inside of you. She needs you too. And we forget about her. So the first step is loving yourself. Loving this little girl that deserves your love. And so oftentimes if we have this trauma that we're still lingering with later in life, it's because we haven't taken a step back and look at loving ourselves again. So when you start to do that, you go, yeah, because everybody deserves to be healthy. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's the first step, is loving yourself. The second step is finding I love myself enough. Okay. So love foods that love you back.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. And these are like foods made from God or the universe or whatever. That means like real foods. They love you back. Okay. And so that's the first step, is love foods that love you back. And then you go into I'm going to start eating healthy foods and that kind of thing. And then you go into why do I want to make a change? Because it's so easy not to. It's easier to not shift at all. Mm-hmm. But then you're devolving and not evolving. And how does that really sit with you? It may not sit very well. You're not reaching your potential. Okay. So then it's like, okay, well, what's my why? Why do I want to? Actually, I want to be a good example for my kids, because they're following me and they're not healthy and I'm not healthy. Well, then the whole family's not healthy, but really it's up to me, because it's not up to them. I'm the role model, and it's what you do, not what you say. So you start to make the shift into your why. For me, my why, once I started to figure things out and I had kids, I'm like, no, I want to be like the best role model. And I did my very best for them. And I'm really proud of them. But that was always my why, because they're always watching me. They're the ones that keep me accountable, And so for them because their health was important to me, because I didn't have my health growing up. So their health was very important to me. For them to be healthy, I needed to be healthy. So you start by loving yourself first, Dorothy. And then the second one is going to the why do I want to change? It's hard. Because it's easier not to. Okay, Why do I want to? And then the second step is find the who to get you the how. So you find someone to help you, because you can't solve the problem that you're in. Okay? You find someone who's already done it, and you learn from them, and it shortcuts your way, and it's way more fun. Why would you want to struggle? So that is my advice.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And so what I'm hearing when you're speaking is if you do this in one area, how you do life in one area is how you do life in all areas. Is what I've really learned last year. That was my big takeaway from last year. And it was so funny when you're speaking, I'm like, okay, well, where am I in life where this is happening and that's happening? And where can I apply what you just, those three principles and three tips that you just put, and loving yourself first, because if you don't love yourself, how can anybody else love you? So absolutely love that. And it's funny because as somebody who had been in a mentally and verbally abusive relationship, I learned very quickly that I was nothing and nobody. And he was very, very quick to tell me about that. And so taking a 10-year healing journey to find myself and get rid of those things that were, implanted, loving myself was one of the hardest things I had to do back all over again. Because it was like, whoa, the journey has been something else, but you're right. Loving yourself first. And so, having the shame and the guilt, like you had mentioned before, right? Like, how do you love yourself in the shame and the guilt?
Yeah. How do you love yourself in the shame and the guilt? I literally remember the time when I was in Kelowna, I'd look at myself in the mirror and go, I don't like myself. And that really hurt. Like, I literally, like, my soul is talking, going, oh my gosh. I actually look at my mirror and look in the mirror and I don't even like myself. Why don't I like myself? Because I need to show up better. How do I show up better? You learn. I never was taught that. I'm like, I need to show up better. How do I do that? Oh, find someone to show me how to show up better. Okay. So I start to read books and I go, okay. And then you start taking the steps. Oh, okay. Then how did it go? You basically, you're ruthless with yourself because it's only you against you. It's like, how did I do? I did really well. I did really good here. And maybe I could work on this. Okay. I'm going to work on that next day. Every day you do a better job, but you still love yourself along the way, going, you know what? You're working on it. Good job. And then the reflection of what happens outside of you, you start to notice that as you become a better person, more people want to be around you and they're better people. I'm like, oh, that's how it works. Oh, cool. You mean my kids will be better if I'm better? Oh, okay. Well, I'll be better so that they can be better. I can't control anybody but myself. Yeah. And so it was like, what? Yeah. And you're talking about character traits right now. Mm-hmm. It's like, what you do in one way, you're going to do in other things. Well, let's shift your character to who you actually want to be. And then you actually pretend you are that person. And then, okay, well, I'm there. Great. Well, or I'm getting there anyways. And then you just, again, you've got to love yourself along the way. Cause hey, we're all going to mess up. It's okay. Just look at it and go, oh, okay. I could have done this time. Play the movie in advance. Next time you're in this situation, play that other role that you had already. You've already solved your problem in advance. Go and do that. And then you just do better every day. That's really what I would do.
Awesome. Celebrating the wins, huge. Like, as overachievers, like I'm a huge overachiever. I grew up in a household with a lot of love, but in that love, it felt like you had to work to love. So I found my self-worth in working to gain people's love. Now, was that the intent of my father? Absolutely not. But that's how I took it. And so realizing that, and I love what you said, celebrate those wins, pat yourself on the back. Getting up for some people is a win, right? Brushing your teeth is a win. Yeah. Getting to eating something is a win, and giving yourself the grace to do that. And it's funny when you said, I thought when you, I hear a lot from a lot of different women saying, well, if my husband would only do this, or if my husband would only be this way, or you know what? You have to love your husband where he's at. You could only change yourself. You can't change him, unfortunately, because if I could change him, then hell, that would be better. But we have to change ourselves. It's by leading, yes, the man is supposed to lead the house, but sometimes us women have to lead until the men understands or gets to that point. And, leading from the front, leading by example, like you said, you want to lead your children, but you've got to do it first. So I absolutely love that. So thank you for sharing that, because that's important. So for our listeners that are out there that are tired, unfortunately, sometimes we got to be the leader to get to a certain point. And then when we're tired, we allow the partner to come in and and take over. So Rheece, do you have anything to add, since you're the partner in this
I
in
do
this deal?
actually. Yeah, I was
Ooh.
listening and reflecting on it. In our business, in our life, we help a lot of people, 45 to 75. So all ages, young children as well. But most often it's women that come to us as the initial contact. And then what happens is they change their life. They change who they are. They change how they reflect upon themselves and become a different person. And invariably, the husband and the children end up seeing this, complimenting mom or grandma in some cases, and saying, wow. And then they decide that they would like to get started. So we've had, as you were talking about power couples, we have power couples that work with us as well. And so, they start off and the wife loses whatever she wanted to lose or change. We don't just work with weight loss. We do a lot of different things. Most often when people come to us, they come for weight loss because that's kind of the shiny banner out there that we're waving. However, they come and they have aches and pains, or they have MS or CFS or all kinds of different challenges, COPD or asthma or whatever they have. And we get them all cleared up and everything. Most often they'll move away from the 11 medications that they're taking and so forth. And the husbands start. A couple just comes to mind. And she got started. She got to the weight that she wanted to do. She's posting all these pictures. Her husband looks at it and says, I want to do that too. He ended up losing 50 pounds.
Wow.
And then her daughter got started. And then they went to a family reunion and everybody's looking at them. They're going, how did you guys do this? And, it's just it's a chain reaction. So it's really, really fun to watch. Very, very rewarding. And yeah, it takes two.
If it will be, it's up to me. It's all up to you. You're not here to control anybody but yourself. And who would want to anyway? Nobody wants to be controlled. No, you control yourself. But it always just starts with what? Like, you know what? Do we want to be sick and tired? No. Don't we want to enjoy our life? Yes. We want to live in like a playground, and we need to think that way. It starts with the mindset. I want to play again, just like a kid. We can be kids again.
Absolutely love that. Wow. This conversation has been mind blowing, because a lot of people need to be reminded, it starts with them. They play faults and it's just like, no, it was their fault. It's my husband's fault. He's the one that brought the bag of chips into the house. But ultimately, if it's up to you to say yes or no to that. It's not your spouse's fault for bringing it into the house. So I love what you said, though, that it wasn't all about that people come to you for different reasons. So share with us a little bit about the services that you do provide.
Oh,
wow. Well, when you say that, I automatically go from A to Z, right? So if you opened a book of natural diseases or uncomfortableness in the body and started at A with maybe acne and went all the way to, whatever, warts or something like that, we do everything in between. So there's nothing that we don't work with or cannot help with. And so it's very, very broad. I mean, I can give you all kinds of individual examples that we work with, but it's pretty much anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of thyroid, I have to say, because of women,
a
lot, and either it's diagnosed or not diagnosed. But then here's the problem. They think it's the thyroid. Oftentimes it's not.
In most cases, dis-ease or uncomfortableness in the body starts in the mind. Everything starts in the mind, right? And so the paradigm or the rule that goes along with the thyroid is, when is it going to be my turn? And so does that resonate with women? When is it going to be my turn? I got goosebumps again, right?
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so story. Keep keep that. But so I got to share this because
Yeah.
I did 75 hard. I completed my 75 hard mission in November, and so I had posted. I was really happy. It was one things that, you know, a lot of us get into something and then we give up on ourselves, right? And then
Yes.
when you give up on yourself, then that guilt and shame goes along with that. But I was so proud of myself because I had accomplished it, and I put it out there. And one person reached out to me and she goes, "How did you do that? Like, I can't believe that you did that. And how do I do that? You know, like she's got kids and I have a kid and our stepson that's here sometimes, and you know, I full-time job plus running shows and things like that, and the coaching business, and she goes like, you know, she's doing all this. She goes, how did you do that? And I said, well, you got to put you first. And she says, what? And I'm like, I can't do that. You know, my kids rely on me. My husband relies on me. Right now, my husband's not in things at work, and he's not doing well. And, you know, he's stressed out. So he's going to the gym. I'm like, but when's it your turn? Well, you know, and she made excuse after excuse after excuse to me.
Yeah.
And I said, but it's not selfish to put yourself first.
No.
It's actually important to your family that you do. And it's important that you take that one small step. So wherever you're at, if you're listening and this is you take that one small step, like Michale said, you know, start loving yourself, reach out for help for the proper person that can help you reach the goal that you want. And so, you know, I heard excuse after excuse, like, and it wasn't an excuse to her. So if she does end up watching this, like that was her reality.
That's
but
right.
But the reality is that if you don't take care of yourself, no one else is going to take it for you. I come from a family where they've all died young. I had a big family, and now we're like down to the nutshell. My dad died at 69. My mom's already had a double bypass. She's 67. And so like her dad died of a massive heart attack and all these things here. And I'm like, so, you know, I've been intentional on taking care of myself and being intentionally like going holistic and stuff like that. But these people that, and I struggle with the whole sometimes too, like I'm getting better now where, you know, everybody comes first and then me. No. Now the new thing is no, wait a minute. I'm important. I'm just as important as everybody else here. Mm-hmm. Right. And once you learn that, I think that's the gateway to what you guys are doing, right? Like if you realize that, wait a minute, you're worth it. You see your worth, you know that, wait a minute, I have this issue and I need to fix this issue. But you can't do it alone. So and sorry.
It's not your fault.
No, that's great.
You know what it is? Here's how it is. There's a lot of thought that goes into this because I literally just think about this like all day. It simmers. It's how we're programmed. Yes. My mom was like that. My mom's mom was like that. My mom's mom was like that. And actually, when my mom, who's passed away, and I love her so much, she's still with me. I remember those times. She'd be over and the kids would be there, and I would want to go to her home gym and train before I would feed our family. And because there was already food in the house, but I'd be the one cooking. And I remember this one time, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to cook. I'm going to get breakfast ready. I'm just going to go do a quick workout. Be back in about 30 minutes. Marusa, what about your family? You need to take care of your family. I'm like, they're not going to starve. There's food in the house that they really want it. Yeah. And I'm going to go do a workout. And I went to the workout. I'm like, it's programming. And not only that, I've been called out on it too with my friends. How do you do that, Michale? How do you actually take care of yourself? I do it. And then I take care of everybody else, but I always take care of myself too. And I tell them that. So if they don't learn from us, they're going to follow the same steps as we did, and we're not going to get any better. Mm-hmm. Mm.
So imagine that you're on a plane, you're at 30,000 feet, you're going into a bumpy ride, the masks come down. What do they tell you to do? If the child's sitting beside you,
mask on first.
Put your mask on first before you help somebody else.
So let's get the message out to the women, because I get it. It's how we're programmed. We have to unplug and plug into taking care of ourselves. Remember that little girl, like she needs you too,
and deserves it.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, absolutely. You just said so much in programming. I have a grandmother. She's still alive. She'll be 91 in March.
Wow.
Uh, has Alzheimer's. She's one of the ones that have lived past 70. Um, and her thing is, you got to take care of your man. So, which ironically, like I love her, um, but she was divorced, and so I'm taking, but she always drilled it into us, and no shame and judgment around that. Please, like, don't take what I just said the wrong way. But she's telling me, you got to take care of them, because if you take care of them, then they'll stick around, and you got to do this and you got to do that. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. So how is it that he's more important than I am? And yes, I do take care of my husband. My husband will vouch that I take very good care of him. But when are roles reversed? Like, when does he take care of me? And not to say that my husband doesn't. When I am vulnerable enough to admit that, hey, I need help with something, he's right there. And I've been more intentional on asking for the help, because as years and decades of programming, you got to do it all yourself. It's the unprogramming of, wait a minute, I don't need to take care of the house all by myself. I work just as much as he does, and having the businesses on top of that. And so I really had to take a step back and say, wait a minute, my grandmother was not 100% right, and when I'm 47, so it was a lot of years of programming that I had to, get rid of. So I love that you said the programming, because a lot that can speak to a lot of people listening right now. Unwind the tape and put a new tape in.
Exactly.
Totally.
Yeah. And we've done that for our family. We've created, here's the thing, you can create new rituals. You want to make it like, you want to make this new passage, this new way enjoyable, not like, oh, it's work. No, it's going to be fun. Let's explore. Oh, okay. Well, let's start with some routines and rituals. You want to make it really meaningful, because that's where it's going to stick. It's like, actually, yeah, this feels good.
Build new habits.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny you said that, because I read the book, The Atomic Habit, by
So
James Clear, I think it is.
Clear, yeah.
That's just got to be one of the best books that I have ever wrote. Or not wrote, read. Sorry, read. I did not write it. Best books I have read in the last, and I started reading that in November. And seriously, like, as I do a lot with the military, so it's almost like the structure of that, and building those habit stackings, like the and for wins. So everything that we've talked about here, building that habit, building that structure, celebrating your wins, loving yourself, putting yourself first. Wow, this has been a lot, and we're only at 33 minutes.
One thing I do want to point out to those people that are listening going, oh, I'm trying to get motivated. Here's the thing. You don't need to do it alone. That's what coaches are for. Yeah. Because here's the thing. One of the biggest mistakes most people make if they're looking to make a change is thinking they need to do it themselves. That's a failed approach. I'm telling you right now, it's so much easier. Find an accountability partner. Ideally, find a coach that has already done it before. Because here's the thing, they've got your back. You want to find someone that you're like akin to, that's like you're a team player. Your coach needs to be your team player, not your boss. No, you're doing this together. You're celebrating the wins together, but they're like, hey, what about try this next time? And so then it's way easier. We have coaches.
Yeah, we have
I could never do what I'm doing without a coach, honestly. But one thing I wish I had was a coach when I had to figure out my whole health story to get my body back. I did it all myself, but it took so long, but I never gave up. If I had a coach to show me the way, instead of 20 years, it could have took me maybe, I don't know, 20 months. So much better with the coach. That's why coaches are absolutely critical. Back in the olden days, I think they had like more mentorship, more ancestry, more of the wisdom being passed on to the kids. They kind of, that was like a built-in coach. But now what's happening? No, they're put in homes because they're not healthy. And that's really sad. That's where our coaches are now. So now we actually need to outsource a coach. But hey, they're there. I highly recommend you find a coach.
If there's something you want to do in life, find somebody else that has done it and shorten the distance that would take for you to get it done, rather than you taking these 20 years, 20 months, right? And boom, you've learned a new skill, right? Yeah. One of the things that we do for our clients is we have all kinds of cheat sheets, we call them, or templates, right? And so we start our clients off, here's the beginning of the day. We call them bookends, right? Here's the beginning of the day. Here's the end of the day. Have a little schedule for yourself, for your own personal life. I'm sure you have one, Dorothy.
Everyone needs a schedule.
And put in what you're doing, what you would.
Self-care
Dorothy's
first.
getting your schedule. There it is.
Self-care first.
So self-care first, right?
Most people don't do that.
What am I going to do in the morning? Oh, I'm going to have my water. I'm going to go look at the sunlight.
Sunlight.
In the evening, I'm going to have my wind down routine. I'm going to have a reverse alarm before I go to bed because I'd like to go to bed at 10:30. I'm going to put a reverse alarm in for an hour and a half earlier so that at 9 o'clock, I'm going to start mentally preparing for my sleep. What does that look like? Maybe it's cooling the room down. Maybe it's fluffing the sheets. Like maybe it's brushing my teeth, whatever it happens to be, right? Putting the kids to bed, whatever's going on in the world that we need to take care of. And that's your prep to do that, right? And then cheat sheets during the day, like other things that can go in there, your exercise that's going to go in there. You know what? I want to exercise 3 times a week. Oh, well, put it into your routine. Then you won't forget about it. It's in your schedule, right?
Everybody needs a schedule. And so everyone that starts with us, after we've done the assessment to actually show them why they're not losing weight, because that's the key, is like we teach you how to be healthy. We don't just tell you what to do. We teach you why. And that's why the compliance is so strong. And that's why they stay with us, because they're learning about health. And so then the next step is, okay, here's your daily routine. And so we work out the daily routine. And because you have your own schedule, a schedule gives you freedom. It's not like, I don't know what to do. No, it's on your schedule. And so it's like, okay, I would like to, build some muscle. Okay, well, let's get some resistance training in there, because that's the key. It's the cardio. Let's get off the cardio bus. Okay. Anybody over 40 needs to build muscle, and that's it. And because if you want to live a long and healthy life, cardio is not going to save you, but your muscle will.
And it's always so funny, especially from the women, but when women hear resistance training, somehow they think they're going to go pick up a little weight and they're going to go like this. And in the morning, they're going to wake up and look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
Not going to get these muscles.
It's just not going to happen.
It takes time. And not everyone wants that, but this is actually how I reversed my condition, was getting muscle mass. It's literally how I did it. Because remember, I had a body of an 80-year-old grandma when I was like 30. I was skinny and frail and sick. Yeah. Wow. And now I turned it all around by figuring it out. And when I started to figure it out, I'm like, whoa, this is working fast, because the other stuff isn't, but this is working fast. How come we weren't told this? What's going on? Oh, I'm going to follow this path because it's working. Oh, wow, it's really working. Oh, wow, I reversed my whole condition. Oh, wow, I have a menstrual cycle back. Oh, wow, I got pregnant 2 times very easily. And now they're super healthy. They've never seen a medical doctor for the time that they were with us for any condition. Never.
Wow.
Never. They were born all natural. No drugs, nothing. Nothing has entered their bodies. Nothing. Everything healthy.
I will have to connect you with Dr. Christy. She's out of Chicago. She is a holistic doctor. She's my holistic doctor.
Oh, good.
And she said the same thing. Like, she wrote the book Coordinating the Chaos, and in that, she had taken great pride, because up until that time, not one of her or her children had to have any medical prescription drug of any kind, because she's done it all holistically. And then one of her children got sick and like really sick and needed to go to the hospital. But and she'll share that. That's her story. But it was decades of not having to do that. And it's funny, because I grew up with, just take a Tylenol. Everything will be cured by a Tylenol, right? And so by knowing her over these last 4 years, I would say I've switched everything to about 80% holistic.
Congratulations.
So I'm just like, okay, never knew any of this before, and grew up in a home where, Tylenol will cure it. And so I love that you said that. Now, what was intriguing is, before we hit record, we were talking about, you said eat more, and that's part of the weight loss journey. Tell us more about that. Because that isn't usually not what you're told. You're usually told, starve yourself and, be on the treadmill for 3 hours a day. So tell us more about that.
Yeah. So I noticed this pattern of people that wanted to, individuals that wanted to lose weight, they were always just kind of gravitating towards, oh, I mean, what is it, Dorothy? If you want to lose weight, what is the typical, what do people normally do? I need to lose weight. What do I need to do?
Eat salads and cardio for like 10 hours a day.
Right. So if that's the case, why is more than half of the population obese or overweight? It's a failed approach. It's not working. Like, open up your eyes, walk around. Like, that's, I don't even have to show you the stats. You just look around. Okay. And so I thought, well, because we've been told the wrong information. It's not the right information. And what we need to kind of focus more on is eat more to get lean, not eat less. But then you may be going, eat more, but what do you mean eat more? Eat more of the right foods and you will get lean. And I'll let you know the number one right food for anyone to add into their diet enough of for them to get lean. Take a guess.
Protein.
Yes. And I have to say, there are some advocates out there. Dr. Gabrielle Line, kudos to her. She's really putting this in the forefront. She's got this new book out, Forever Strong. I've ordered it. I've been following her along with others as well, like Ben Greenfield, all these other ones I've been following for all these years. And their message is we've got to eat enough protein because it's so much about the metabolism. We've got to bring the metabolism back up to healthy. The reason why you're overweight is because the metabolism needs some help. And so to do that, we need to dive into what are you eating? And when you start to eat more protein, what I've come to realize is anybody who's overweight has two major issues. The first one is they have blood sugar dysregulation. And that's why they're not able to burn fat because their body hasn't tapped into that. The second one is inflammation. Chronic inflammation is one big fire in the body, and it's dysregulating all the systems in the body. So you're not able to have a healthy metabolism. When you eat more protein, not only do you feel satiated, so you're not always tied to the fridge, but what else are you doing? Balancing blood sugar. What else are you doing? It's anti-inflammatory when you eat the right types of protein. So it's covering those bases. And when you start to do these things, here's the thing, your cells are expecting something. And if you're going to eat artificial food, you're going to feel artificial. We need to get back into real foods to have a real life, really. And it can be super simple. Why are we complicating things? Eating protein is not that difficult. It's just that again, we need to unplug from what we're told and plug into what we really need to be doing.
That is a wisdom right there. And so when I think of protein, I think of a lean meat. What is that correct? Or what is the proper protein?
Yeah, I love that you said that. So quality matters. So I've been trained to work with post-cancer recovery as well. And I've been trained to work with clients to get the inflammation down so that the body can heal. Well, if you're looking at having beef, you can either have a beef that is going to be inflammatory to the body, or you can have beef that's going to be anti-inflammatory to the body. One is not healing, the other one is healing. What is the difference? It's the quality. So it's pasture raised. If you're going to have beef, grass finished. Why? Because it's high in omega-3. It's raised in its natural environment. It's not stressed like the factory farm stuff. It's just like, that's just not okay. It's just like, that is just not okay what they do. So we need to go back to like how we used to eat. Why did we move away from that? Because of convenience, because women had to go back to work, all these things. But hey, we can go back to how we were. What did our ancestors do? They were hunters and gatherers. They ate from the land. That's exactly what we need to do. So what does that look like? Okay, well, grass finished, right? So I would have to say, if you're looking at the hierarchy of protein, you're going to want to look for a protein that's easy to digest, and that is easy to digest and high in leucine. Leucine is an amino acid that helps with muscle building. And so the very, very top of the chain would have to be something like, and you may get squeamish, but organ meats. Blech. Yeah. The way that you can make them, I did a lot of ancestral cooking methods and how to do that. So I learned from this wisdom is there's a certain way to prepare them so that when you do cook them, and actually the last podcast I did, we cooked them together. They are so delicious and sweet. They are the highest in micronutrients. One would be CoQ10. What is CoQ10 for? You were talking about heart disease. That's the number one antioxidant, number one nutrient the heart needs to have a healthy heart. And why do we have to take pills all the time? Why can't we eat our way to health? Well, each food has its own nutrition. So I'd have to say organ meats have the highest in CoQ10. If you have anemia, eat organ meats 3 times a week. Why would you need to take a pill? You can just eat organ meats. But you prepare them in a way that's super easy. So, and they actually taste super delicious. So organ meats, and then if you're not quite convinced, then I would go to wild salmon would be another one. Yeah, a wild salmon would be one, and then we go into things like wild meats. So anything like you want to get into wild meats. That would be kind of there. And then it would go from, so we have organ meats, we have beef, we have wild salmon, and then down from there, we have eggs, and then down from there would be like chicken and turkey. Yeah. And then protein powder just as a quick thing.
My brother would love you. He's a hunter, so
perfect.
he is out there and hunts most of his family eats, and so he's always. Oops, sorry, hit the wrong button. He is out there, and I've tried the duck, I've tried the moose, I've tried everything like that, and I don't mind most of it. There is some that I'm like, no, not going to do it. So that is hilarious that you said that. So if I tell him that, which I'm not going to tell him that he was right, because that's just not going to happen.
I'm proud of you for trying it. I'm proud of you. Why do we have to stick to the same stuff all the time? Why don't we venture out and face our fear and try something new? That's the other thing that we always recommend our clients is we get so caught up in the same thing all the time. You're so limiting yourself. Hey, why don't you break free and try one new thing a week? It's like challenge yourself. So good job, Dorothy.
Well, thank you. And it's funny when you said organ meat, the first thing I thought of was liver. My parents used to cook liver all the time.
Right.
I would never eat it but I tried it. I didn't like the texture.
I was the same. Exactly.
So there is a difference between chicken and beef liver, I have to say. They both are high in CoQ10. Beef liver has a very distinct, really strong flavor, which I wouldn't have. Chicken is so much easier. And you're getting the same benefit, but from something that's more mild. So I would have to say, anyone watching this, and you're really wanting to get that energy back. What does CoQ10, what does iron do? Gives you that energy back. If you just try it, once. And if I'm happy, Dorothy, to actually send I think it might even be in my book. I don't know if you know this, but I did write a book. And in the book, I'm very sure I talked about how to properly prepare your organ meats. Yeah, because the book is all based on ancestral diets, because we need to get back into eating like real foods. Our cells are expecting this. And we're sick because we're not giving our cells what they're asking for.
Wow.
It's really true.
It's funny you said that, because I think that's a missing link for a lot of people. Like they just they're saying, well, let's just go try this, or let's try that, or pop pills and I'll lose weight with that. And how do these superstars lose like 30, 40 pounds in no time at all? But you got to it's like everything else. If you want change, you gotta be willing to put the change the habits, change the way of eating and stuff like that. Where can people find your book, Michale?
It's actually going to be on the website. That'll be available for when people look at it. It's really designed for those that want to live a healthy life, that are just like, they find it really difficult, but it's actually super simple. So I show you how to have a healthy life and keep it super, super simple, starting with the eating properly with some easy recipes. Also, if you have kids or grandkids that are picky eaters, I have a section for you too. I got your back. Tips to help with that. How to eat on a budget, and also a grocery list. There's also some, what else is there? Well, I first of all talk about the natural laws of health. Because if I'm going to be talking about something, I'm going to want them to think big picture first, then kind of dial it into the tactics. The big picture is we need to follow the natural laws of health, because that's how we're designed. We need to go back into a natural way of living. And when you do, your body responds so quickly. And that's how I was able to heal my body, as I went from artificial to what we were told to do, till I switched it over from margarine to butter. Oh, from Splendid to actual like coconut sugar. Oh, from low fat to having fat. Oh, and then my body started to respond. My hormones started to become more balanced, and my menstrual cycle came back. My bones started to build. What? Real food can do that? Yes, it can.
One of the questions when you were asking about lean protein or lean beef, the word lean was a trigger for me. A lot of people believe that we should be eating lean foods, right? First of all, we don't just ascribe to organ meats for our clients. We meet them where they are. If they like a certain diet, we do that. If they're vegan, we do that. Like we work with where they're at with their nutrition and the foods that they like, right? And that's how we build a nutrition plan. But the idea of lean meat came from a very old study around saturated fat, and the idea that saturated fat would increase cholesterol. And if you dive deep into the studies as we do, you'll find out that that's an inaccurate statement, but it's still ascribed to by some physicians nowadays. And so consequently, they'll give people statin drugs to lower cholesterol. When you take a look at a metabolic chart, you find that cholesterol is at the very top of it. And if we do not have cholesterol, we don't make any of our hormones, that be testosterone or estrogen or progesterone or any of the other hormones that are required for healthy living below that. So if we stop the production of our cholesterol with statin drugs, 40% of our brain is fat. So then that's why people start to lose their minds, lose their memories when they're taking statin drugs. It causes our muscles to cramp up. That's why they get muscle cramps when they take statin drugs.
And they lose their energy.
And they lose their energy because it stops the mitochondria, which is why coenzyme Q10 is so important for the heart, is because it's causing the beating. It's helping with the mitochondria, which sends signals to the heart to be able to pump, right? And to all of our muscles and everything. So it's super important. And you can't stop eating enough cholesterol because the body will find a way to create cholesterol. So even though you're struggling to do this and the drugs are working against your natural environment, it doesn't really matter.
Wow. I have never, ever, 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 ever heard it this way. I've been to, I don't know, 7 to 10 dietitians and nutritionists over my lifetime. And never, they say, follow the food guide.
Oh my.
Follow the food guide.
Oh
yeah,
my.
The Canadian government put the food guide out there for a reason. And whatever. I'm not getting into that.
Yeah. Because it's not working. So
I highly recommend that if you are in this place, like we've been talking about, you felt the guilt, you felt the shame, you felt all that, you've had ancestral people, like ancestral grandmothers and wording and messaging saying, you got to do this, you got to do that, not putting yourself first. Wait a minute. If you just eat to be healthy instead of just, starving yourself and then going and working on the treadmill for 10 hours, which puts more stress on your body and everything like that. I highly encourage you right now to go check out Michale and Rheece's website, which is askmichale.com. And that's askmichale.com for those of you that are on listening from Spotify. Go check that website out. Get a copy of Michale's book. Tell them that Unstoppable Overcomers sent you, and you got to go check them out because you just basically killed everything that I have been programmed to know about nutrition and dieting and things like that. So thank you so much, guys, for coming on the show and sharing your wisdom. I truly appreciate it.
I have a giveaway for your listeners. And thank you for spelling my name because it's A like Apple, A-A-L-E. Ask Michale. Michale is spelled a little bit differently, and there's a story around that, which we can do another time.
Yeah, for sure.
We broke the mold so many times. It's crazy. Okay, so we have a giveaway for your listeners. So if you're like me, where it's like, oh my God, how am I going to lose this weight without like dieting all the time? But dieting is so like, I feel like I'm in food prison, but I want to be in food freedom. Like, how am I going to do this? Like, what's the best diet for me to actually be able to eat and lose weight and get lean? Because really you want to get lean. You don't want to like be a skinny fat. No, you want to be at your perfect weight with a good composition so that when you put your clothes on, you feel really good and you're not like jingling everywhere. Okay. And so I have a 7-day rapid weight loss plan that I actually it's hot off the press. And I was asked to write this because so many people are struggling and they're just not following the right information. I'm like, I just want to help these people. And so what we did is made it super simple, 7-day rapid weight loss. And so what we're doing is we're showing you how to create these healthy habits that actually work to melt away particularly belly fat, how to get toned again, and how to look and feel 10 years younger.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so you're giving them the plan.
So what we're going to do is once they go onto the website, there'll be a button that they can press for the free guide, the free plan. And so all they do is press that one button, boop, and then they'll see a little video of me explaining about it, because you need to kind of get an understanding of our method, which is like get healthy to lose the weight
Right.
by eating. Yeah. And so you get a little video, and then you get the once a day for 7 days. So it's only 7 days. You're challenging yourself. But at the same time, it's like you'll look at it and go,
That was easy.
it's so simple. What?
I love that. I love that. I'm going to go check that out myself.
Well,
So yes, totally, for sure. And I highly encourage everybody listening to go check that out. Just go to askmichale.com. And like you said, click on the free guide, and that will, start the process rolling. Wow. So incredible. Thank you so much for doing that for our listeners.
absolutely.
And so now we're going to take the last couple minutes here. We're going to do the fundamental section of the show. And since there's both of you, I want both of you to answer this question. And you could have both similar questions, since you are doing the same things, but maybe not. So Michale, we'll start with you first. What are your 3 fundamentals?
Okay. 3 fundamentals for what?
So if you, like I said, if you were to pass away tomorrow, what would be the 3 things that you want people to remember you by?
Well, first of all, I guess the first thing that comes to mind is motivation and inspiration to be healthy. I think that's the first thing, because when you're healthier, life is so much better. So that's the first thing. The second thing is get strong. We need to and that means that it's like building muscle. Yeah, but mentally strong. Like if you find yourself down, the best thing you can do is move and get out of it and find someone to help you. So get strong. And then the third one is just be a good person. Have good, it starts with you too. It's like, I know when I start to change my own, how I was showing up, other people are showing up better around me. I'm like, ooh, this does work, So do inner work so that your outer being is who, when you look in the mirror, you go, wow, I'm so proud of myself. Those are my 3.
Love that. And Rheece, what are your 3?
Mine would have to be have fun,
Love it.
take care of yourself so that you can take care of others, and be the change that you want to see in the world.
Love both of yours. Those are all incredible. Seriously. And that's basically what we've been talking about this entire time. Be the change. It starts with you, loving yourself first, and doing what you need to do to get onto that right path of losing weight and eat to be healthy. I absolutely love everything that you guys are doing. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. And don't forget, guys, go to askmichale.com. Go check out that free guide. Definitely can't wait to get my hands on that. And any last words for our guest today?
Actually, I want to congratulate you. I keep thinking about how much I'm in awe of you, Dorothy, where you came from to where you are now, you're the inspiration. So for you to go out and speak and do this podcast, everyone needs to listen to this because you're intoxicating. It's almost like every time, as soon as I start talking to him, I like her. And because you know what, you're fun and you're light and you're knowledgeable and you don't give up and you're always helping people. Dorothy, I think you're just a star. That's the final word for me. Keep going, girl. The world needs you.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys. We just want to give one last shout out to our last sponsor of today's show, the Kimra. Let me look for this here. For if you're needing more time, money, and resources, go check out the Kimra. Tell them Dorothy sent you over here at Unstoppable Overcomers. They have rituals in place to help you with your time, money, and resources. So go check them out. it's a great way to get the balance that you need in your life and to make it rain. And you'll know what I mean by that when you go check out their website. So thank you to everybody that was listening tonight. Thank you so much for Rheece and Michale for joining us tonight. Don't forget, be unstoppable in all that you do, and same time, same channel next week. Bye.